Hello once again. Much better. Excellent. My name is Georg Raab, and you're here for the session on the COSME program or Access to Finance. So in case you're waiting for access to lunch, it's outside. And the ERT, well, this is too late. My name is Georg Raab. I work for the European Commission, and together with my colleague Rafaela from the Enterprise Europe Network, we would like to present you a bit the COSME program and how the COSME program helps to businesses getting access to finance. So the COSME program is one of many programs that the Commission adopted together with member states to help businesses. Now it's quite difficult for people and businesses to get an overview. What is this program about? Which one is the one which is interesting for my case? This is a bit the overview about all the different financing programs that the Commission adopted together with member states in the current program period. So our program, the COSME program, is just in the middle. It doesn't have a sector focus. It's for SMEs in general. We do have both loan guarantee facilities, so helping businesses getting access to loans, and an equity facility, which is focusing on the expansion stages. There are many other different financing programs, and I can tell you, you don't need to know the details. It's for other people to know it. The only thing for you which might be of interest is how to get access to funding behind those programs. But as a background, the COSME program tries to complement a bit financing from other programs. So for instance, from the InnoFin program, part of Horizon 2020, there is financing schemes particularly for innovative businesses. We do have from the EASY program a particular financing for the micro businesses and for the social businesses. And the Creative Europe program, surprisingly for the culture and creative sector. For the COSME program, and this is the good thing is, you don't need to ask for Commission people to understand a bit what the program is about. What is important is whom to contact to apply for financing. And it's not the Commission who provides the financing directly. And this is a main difference to grant programs where there are calls and you need to fill in quite a lot of paperwork. For financing programs, the application process is at regional level with our financing partners, which are banks and equity investors. Here is a map of Europe where we have an overview of all the different financing partners that we have from the loan guarantee side. So you can see that we managed to find agreements with banks in almost all the European countries. And those are the ones actually that deal with applications from startups, from businesses, and entrepreneurs. So far, we managed to mobilize already 25 billion of financing from the COSME program together with the investment plan. And we supported over 450,000 companies. Now, many of those companies don't actually know that we supported them. It's a bit unfortunate for the Commission people like me, but it's good for them because the application procedure is as simple as they only need to go via a local bank and apply for financing. And depending on the business case, our partners could provide the financing. So as mentioned with our program and in general financing programs, we don't have a sector focus. So financing is available for all different companies, different sizes, different sectors, and different age of the companies. And what is available, it's not free money, meaning a grant, but it's easier access to a loan or to an equity investment. And the main difference to grant programs is less paperwork, but also the decision to provide financing will be done at local level via the local bank or the local investors. It's never people like me who don't have understanding of the business cases, but it's the local people, and they will have a look at the exact financing conditions that they can provide you with loans and equity financing supported by COSME and the other programs. And now a brief look into the future. So the COSME program as itself it will continue with 2 different programs in the future, so the next programming period. The parts of the Enterprise Europe network and many other support infrastructures will continue under the Single Market Program. The parts on access to finance, meaning our financial instruments, they will continue under the InvestEU program. The InvestEU program is a bundling of the different financial instruments which are currently available. So as mentioned earlier, we have many different financing programs, and it's hard for you and many people to understand the complexity, which one is the one which is suitable for my needs. With the future, all central programs will be bundled under InvestEU. And next to it, there will be still financing programs under structural funds. We do have different policy windows, so the COSME program and structures of our financing products will continue under InvestEU in the SME window under InvestEU. The InvestEU program, we already have a partial general agreement between Parliament and Council and Commission. But it's not yet finalized. It depends also on the finalization of the overall EU budget. So we're hoping in the coming months or the near future to have a bit green light into the future. On technical level, we're already working because there will be some changes also for the new financing programs. The main difference will be that, as mentioned, the financing programs will be bundled into one program, InvestEU. For businesses and entrepreneurs, not much will change because still the financing will be done at local level via local banks or local equity financing providers. What will change a lot is the architecture that we're opening up to other promotional banks, meaning KfW, BB France, and other promotional banks to tap into our guarantee directly. And be next to the European Investment Bank Group and the European Investment Fund, one of our implementing partners. And then it's up to the implementing partners like the European Investment Fund, European Investment Bank, and promotional banks to work then with local banks and local equity investors who will be responsible, like today, to provide the financing directly to businesses and entrepreneurs. So the major change will be opening it up to other promotional banks and also the possibility for member states to use part of their operational programs to contribute to InvestEU and then have a ring-fenced product for their region under InvestEU, under the InvestEU rules as well. So the only thing which might be of most interest for you is how to get access to finance under the COSME program or the other financing programs. Well, we tried to simplify life and created one website covering all the different financing programs of the European Commission, of the European Investment Bank, and also the ones under structural funds. So everything but grants supported by the EU is in one website, Access to Finance. And the website actually is interactive, so you can click on your country and your region, and the website will then provide you a list of all the banks and equity investors that provide financing in your region. It's interactive that you can provide actually more information looking only for financing under the COSME program or for stages of development. If you're looking more for startup financing or expansion financing, the website will try to give you the most suitable contact persons in your region. But next to the website, we try to work also a lot with our Enterprise Europe network to have partners on the ground who can provide you advice face-to-face. And here I'm very glad to have with me our friend Rafaela, who can give you a bit more information what the Enterprise Europe network does on access to finance. And we can have some questions after Rafaela's intervention. Thank you from my side.
Thanks a lot, George. Thanks to everybody who is here in the room for giving us the opportunity to present what comes after. I mean, that's the scenario, that's the financial portfolio, and how do I get to these funds as a company, or as an entrepreneur willing to be, or a scale-up company, doesn't matter. So let's go a little bit into the big family of the Enterprise Europe Network, the biggest network, the European Commission to support companies. I mean, irrespective, as Georg was also mentioning, of the size, the economic sectors it works in, to support these companies in growth, in competitiveness, and in being more innovative. What we call it is the approach of the network is so-called client journey approach. So meaning that we are a huge set of public institutions, private institutions, research organizations. We're a total of more or less 600 partners spread across Europe and third countries. And we support companies providing, services in broad areas. I've just labeled the major, let's say the major ones: access to finance, internationalization, innovation. And the main aim of the network is to try to have an overview of the needs of the company and try to accompany it during its expansion phase or its scale-up process. And coming to what is the role of access to finance, I'm very glad to chair the group of the related to developing services in this field to the benefit of the network partners. And here are briefly synthesized the main, or let's say the core activities we are performing as network partners to support companies in this search for the most adequate financial sources for their strategy and their investment. So basically, we try to understand, of course, what's the company's situation at present, what its vision for the next future, and then we support them in identifying the most adequate financial opportunities. As Georg was saying before, what we have, as a knowledge, is what's going on both at EU, national and regional level. I guess that a key word in our network is the proximity service. So we are based locally. We are, another keyword I would say we love a lot is we are inserted in an ecosystem at local level, which brings us in touch with other stakeholders, regional managing authorities of the structural funds programs, for instance, financial investors, professional associations, and all together we try to accompany our clients in their path. And of course, we try as well to set the scenarios, or to set the conditions to get these companies meet with financial providers. So it could be in the form of business to investors events or other kinds of I will tell you something more in the next slides, and to create opportunities, of course, for them to meet, for the companies to meet these kinds of providers. Basically, here in a sort of, graphical layout, I'm trying to give it to you what we normally do as EN advisors, as EN partners, when we have a company or willing to be entrepreneur starting asking for support in this specific field of access to finance. So we start, of course, with bilateral meetings. Bilateral meetings are, the result maybe of raising awareness events we normally organize at local level to inform about EU policies and programs and so forth. And from the very beginning, we go through the process to identify what are the company's needs. So that's what here you can see it like the client needs analysis. So we analyze the strategy the company is willing to perform. We perform, let's say, a sort of investment readiness tool as well we use to assess the company's capacity to go forward, to move forward. And with them, what we have synthesized as an action plan, we try to draw some broad lines of intervention where the network partners can give a help. And in particular, in this field of access to finance, so we suggest the company what could be the most suitable funding sources? As we were mentioning before with Georg, and also as I had the chance to listen to other workshops during these days, not all financial means are suitable for all kind of companies. So our role is really to, let's say, to coach, to steer the company towards the most appropriate source, funding source. So not to give false expectations, to try to be as much effective as possible. So there is, of course, a good knowledge of the company, and on our side, a very good knowledge of the availabilities, of the opportunities. And once we have identified them, we support the companies in getting in touch with the authority, could be like a grant, or with the financial provider if we are talking about debt or equity solutions, and therefore to prepare them on how to address these stakeholders, these financial providers, because every financial provider needs or requires different kind of approaches and different type of documents to be provided. And last but not least, that's the core business of the network, not only relation with access to finance, but that's the core discussion of today, is to support or to identify the business to investors events where the company can have can participate and can take part to it, and can meet in bilateral meetings once again with financial providers. And transnational cooperation opportunities for us means try to enlarge the vision, the market of the companies by providing contacts with the potential European or international partners. In this case, we focus as much being a network, as I explained to you at the very beginning, in extending, and in creating cooperation amongst us as partners with other financial providers set in other European countries or abroad. So here's what you can get. If you visit, I will leave you at the end the reference portal of the EN, so you can also go through and check which is the closest EN office to you. Is what the base of documents we normally use in this process. So it's what I call the investment readiness assessment. That's guideline we are using to assess the company's readiness to perform its strategy and investment. The mapping of financial providers, as Georg was showing to you, the access to finance.eu portal is the main framework for the EU financial opportunities in terms of equity and debt solutions and so forth. But we are trying as well, living, as I repeat myself, sorry for that, but it's important, in an ecosystem, in a regional or national ecosystem. We provide also linkages. We know who the other actors are and how to get in touch with them. And that's really important because it's a sort of win-win situation we create, because if we know the other stakeholders, and in particular, if we know how the financial providers perform, we can better signpost the companies to the most adequate one, and at the same time, better prepare the companies to get a meeting with them. We are also setting up reference materials on how to prepare to these meetings, how to pitch. Pitching sessions are quite popular in those days. We have heard about also corporate meetings, events, and so forth. So it's not something that you just improvise. So it's good to have some references, some do's and don'ts when preparing a pitch deck, and some indications on the overview of the selection process. So the so-called due diligence process the financial providers perform. So what a company has to expect in terms of a request from the financial providers of documents to be given to them to be prepared. We also perform a selection of say the most relevant business to investors events, as I was saying, and some partners also do organize themselves business to investors events, meaning they can be the actor directly engaged in performing this kind of events across Europe. Last but not least, where we are now as a group supported by DG GROW and the SME, we are now working, and we have already established good cooperation with the some relevant third parties, let's call it like that. One of these being the European Angel Investments, European Business Angels Association, the network, and we have a collaboration going on for the next round of event. The IBAN is running in Brussels actually at the end of November. That will give the chance to a selected group of companies to be part of the pitching sessions the IBAN organize. The European Investment Advisory Hub is the hub, the service which has been created in the framework of the Juncker Plan and the InvestEU program, and we are working on a sort of signposting scheme, meaning that the companies who are applying for technical assistance to the hub can be then supported further by the EN at local level. So we just work in tandem to better support the company in this journey. Last but not least, the DG ECFIN, the Economic and Financial Affairs, and the European Investment Project Portal. There is a stand also outside, close to ours, to our booth. This is a portal we try to match companies with investors. So a company can post a request, a project. It is going to be carried out by the company itself and look for financial support. And we are also further working on other potential collaboration schemes, and one of these being the European Institute of Technology. They have just preceded us in the workshop, so they are running so-called KICs, Knowledge Innovation Communities. They are providing support to entrepreneurs in various areas, and therefore it could be worth to strengthen the cooperation between our network, the EN network, and them. If you want to know more, of course, about the network, as I was saying, this is the portal, and of course also after the lunch break, I have the pleasure to have here in the room another colleague of ours, Maxine Adams, who will as well run a workshop to go a little bit deeper into services and some witnesses also of clients from the network being served for the network. So you can also continue getting the overview, the general overview of the network in terms of services delivered to companies. I would stop here. These are our references of both Georg and I, and of course if you have some questions or observations or comments, I guess that we are here for you to answer. Thanks for the attention so far.
So now is the chance for you to ask all the questions. So I guess you all came here for a reason. So either you're looking for finance or you were looking for another room. So if you have some questions, we're here to take them.
Thank you very much. My name is Joris. I'm from Belgium. And just a small question. The bilateral meeting where everything starts, is it with the local bank or is it with you?
It's never with me. I do the very boring stuff here in the Commission. The fun part with the companies and entrepreneurs is always at local level. If for those entrepreneurs and companies who are not yet willing or who have so many questions, they can always turn first to the Enterprise Europe network, who can do a screening both of who are most suitable finance providers, so whom to contact, and also prepare a bit so that you're ready to approach the finance providers, because they will be having questions. So we don't have a lot of forms that you fill out like for a grant, but it's mostly a business case. So meaning, can you show some collateral? What is your prospects for the future? And there the local people from the Enterprise Europe network can be helpful as a first contact. But for the real application, it's always with a local bank or local finance investor.
Yeah, just to complement what you've just said, you can spot on the access-to-finance.eu portal maybe the local intermediaries, the financial intermediaries of the COSME program and others, and then the EN, the local EN, can assist you in the process, of course. So, and you can find the whole list in a similar way. I mean, to consult the portal, just per region, per member states, per region, you spot all the EN offices in there. You're welcome.
Any other question?
My name is Chantal Pichon, coming from France, and thank you very much for this presentation. Actually, I have a question because I saw BPI France in one of our partners, and the question is, they have a quite, tight, I would say, tight regulation, or I don't know how you say it, which is very difficult for a young, startup which would like to have a scale up the business. So how is it? How do you work with them? I mean, do you apply the regulation, or is it a new? Because in this way, it's going to be very difficult. I'm sorry for my country, but this is one of the big problems we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good question. So our programs are always demand-driven. So we don't enforce any standard product all across Europe just because the financing conditions are so much different. So it's for local banks like BPI France to apply for our programs. They can apply their investment strategy, but it needs to meet our requirements. So we set the overall framework. Within our COSME program, for instance, one of the priorities for us is that to do more, meaning that if they engage with us under the COSME program, they need to take on board more risk. So business as usual is not an option if they want to work with us. So what we want to see, for instance, those banks who have not financed startups, for instance, just because they don't have any collateral. Startups is not an easy case, just many banks, it's a lot of administrative procedures, they don't have a lot of credit history, no collateral, so there are not too many who want to take on the risk. But if they work with us, we help them because we share the risk, meaning that if the startups go bust, which is unfortunate, but it happens a lot, we take on board the risk part of it, and in return, they engage in more riskier finance. In France, BPI France is not the only partner we have. We work a lot with Socama and also local banks who might be more suitable for certain business cases like startups. But for our SME program under the COSME program, half of our beneficiaries are startups. And the financing transactions are normally below 50,000. So our program is really next to the EASY program, one which is most used for startups and very micro businesses. I'm coming back to you.
Sorry. I have another question. How is the connection between the EIC and the COSME? I mean, the startup has to, in the first place, to apply for the EIC at the beginning, and then if it's going to be okay, then, I mean, if you want to be scaling up, they have to apply for the COSME, or it's more dedicated for SME?
One word that Commission officials use quite a lot is complementarity. What we mean is that we work in parallel. So it's not a precondition to apply first with the ESC that it will be follow-up investment under COSME or other way around. It really is for all the different startups and entrepreneurs to see, depending on their business needs, what support is most suitable. Sometimes it will be grants, sometimes it will be a loan or an equity investment. With equity, it's only suitable for a small minority, those who are willing to take on board external investors, also share part of the management decisions. And with the ESC, we don't have any direct links other than both is possible. The only preconditions, otherwise our auditors will scream, you cannot finance the same activity twice with two different programs. So it can be in complementary means, as an example, you can use a grant program to finance the training of your staff, and you can use a loan support by COSME to buy the machines. Both is for a similar activity and to work in complementarity, and the auditors are happy because it's for different streams.
Hi, my name is Marta, and I work for the Overseas Countries and Territories Association in Brussels. And as last year, we had a workshop on EU programs, and one of our sessions was on COSME, actually. And what information we got there was that although OCTs are eligible to COSME financing, for the time being, there's no agreement between a financial institution based in an OCT and the European Commission. Is that something that could be facilitated somehow? Is that an interest? Thank you.
Thank you. So indeed, our program, similar to other financing programs of the EU, are also eligible for partners in overseas territories. We don't have any specific activity towards the region. Certainly next to structural funds and other programs, there is a need, but our instruments are purely demand-driven. So there needs to be, we cannot enforce to have a partner in all the different regions. We are trying with our information sessions like today to inform that it's possible. People need to apply. From the COSME program, we do have certain partners in France and Netherlands, if I'm not mistaken, where some of the beneficiaries are also located in overseas territories. It's less than 5%, but there are. So we do have in our records some beneficiaries also in overseas territories, but they're not branded as such specific. I see that if you don't have any questions, people from the outside will want to invite you for lunch. So if you have any burning question, it's still your last chance. Otherwise, Rafael and me, we will still be a bit outside. We have a booth for the COSME program. And as mentioned by Rafaelia, there will be a session on the Enterprise Europe Network just afterwards in this room.
In this room, yeah.
Yes. So thanks a lot for your attention.
Thank you.